Let me also go across to Lieutenant General DS Hooda, who's former GOC, Northern Command, the man who led the surgical strikes against Pakistan, joining us live and exclusively. General Hooda, many thanks for your time. You have also attended the last rites ceremony of Colonel Manpreet. Must have been a very heavy day for all concerned.
Every loss is a part of the military and the army family, and we deeply sort of feel and grieve every comrade who's lost in battle like this.
What do you make of the kind of encounter that has been raging on in Anantnag and the kind of casualties we have suffered? Would you consider this a setback for the Indian Army?
Every time, Shivani, that you lose, and particularly senior officers like a commanding officer, we've lost a major, a DSP of the Jammu and Kashmir State Police. Every time you have these losses, it is a setback, Shivani. But also, the army knows how to bounce back from these setbacks. We've had them before. Unfortunately, we will have them in the future. But you don't find the spirit and the morale of the army flagging. In fact, these are incidents which build a desire in you to do even better in the future.
Overall, many of our experts who were speaking to us before you, General Hooda, do believe that this is, that last hour of crushing of terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. And it could be a tricky time and could be the darkest hour, as they say, before sunrise. But would you say that overall the trajectory and the situation on ground is still much better than what it used to be, and India is close to finishing off all remaining terrorists in the valley?
Rani, absolutely, the situation is much better. I've said this in the past, and I will say it again to you. Let us not look at one or two incidents and say that these are the incidents that define the trajectory of security situation in Jammu and Kashmir, because that would not be correct. You will have incidents like this, sometimes which are high profile. But I think we need to look at the big picture, and the big picture in Jammu and Kashmir is the security situation is much better than what it was in the past. And the number of violent incidents have gone down. Civil society disturbances that used to take place have gone down. The number of terrorists that were there have gone down. The local recruitment has gone down. So yes, situation is better, but obviously we just cannot sit back and say, look, everything is normal.
Okay.
We know there are incidents of infiltration that have taken place and are taking place. The army commander himself a few days back said infiltration is taking place. We are seeing an attempt to, uh, you know, uptick violence levels in the Jammu region. While things are much better, the army knows this and the police knows this, that you can't just sort of rest now and say things are okay. Uh, we need to still make sure that complete normalcy comes to Jammu and Kashmir.
As far as infiltration is concerned, I know the numbers suggest that it has actually been brought down quite a bit, by a great percentage. What do you think the challenges still continue to be to curb infiltration completely, especially in context of the pattern we are witnessing, where terrorists are now hiding out in the dense forested area of the Pir Panjal range? They're not really going towards the more populated areas as they used to. What are the challenges that you see now in this stretch of the challenge?
So Shivani, if you look at the if you look at the line of control, the terrain is very difficult, and to try and counter infiltration. People talk about zero infiltration. Frankly, having served there, and if you ask any of the army officers, zero infiltration is a policy. A little bit of infiltration does take place. It's a challenge. I mean, we all say that there is a fence in the Kashmir region, so why is infiltration taking place?
Exactly.
What is not known is that during the winters, 60% of this fence collapses, and it takes almost 6 months to repair it. And by the time you repair it, you are coming close to the winters again. So there are challenges of terrain, there are challenges of snowfall, there are challenges of, frankly, human endurance, of what you can do. But I think with technology, with efforts, with more deployment along the line of control, infiltration has pretty much sort of reduced to a large extent. And then also there is this Pakistani factor. I mean, they're training people. You are having well-trained people who are coming inside.
Yes.
Uh, they know the exact layout of the ground. They know the exact deployment of where our posts and where our soldiers are. And those are the people who are being pushed into Jammu and Kashmir. So some infiltration, Shwani, will take place uh, unless, and I don't see that happening now, the Pakistan army completely curbs and clamps down on terrorists on their side.
Well, they're certainly not going to do that. But that is leading me to the next question I was going to ask you. As someone who led the surgical strikes against Pakistan, that has had, of course, a huge impact on the psyche in Pakistan too. Many would wonder, why doesn't India finish this off? Is it time that India can mount an operation that can once again draw a line for Pakistan, scare them for many years to come? Is it possible, sir, at all?
No, no, it's absolutely possible, Shivani. I think what we need to look at, Shivani, is a holistic response to what do we do with Pakistan and how do we stop them from, supporting terrorist activities in India. And this will actually require, I would say, a political response, a diplomatic response, international pressure coming on Pakistan, and where required, as has done in the past in 2016 and again in 2019 with the Balakot strikes, use the military option where it's needed. But I think a more holistic response is what we need to look at when we are saying that we need to stop Pakistan from supporting terrorist activities in India.
So you're saying that just one strike is not going to be enough. We have to look at it from all sides. And on all of those aspects that you talked about, India has been very successful in isolating and putting the scrutiny back on Pakistan. Would you agree?
I would agree, Shivani, and which is why you find the levels of activity have to a certain extent reduced, because Pakistan is fearful that uh, there would be a reaction from India if some major terrorist strike or major terrorist incident happens.
Right.
What I'm saying is, we need to be consistent. We need to continuously push this and make sure over a period of time, Shivani, let's not also fool ourselves and say, one strike is going to completely sort of stop Pakistan from doing this.
Yes.
Continuous long-term uh, pressure, a coherent, consistent policy is what is needed.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. Lieutenant General DS Hooda, thanks a lot for making your time and for your inputs.